Yes, Indonesia is hosting one of ASEAN agendas under Indonesia's chairmanship, the 29th Asean Economic Ministers retreat taking place in Magelang until the 23rd of March. Joining us live from Magelang with more information on the event is TVRI World reporter Aryo Bagus. Hi Aryo, can you tell us more on the latest development of the event?
All right, hello Aline and good evening. And yes, reporting live from Borobudur, Magelang, Central Java, where the ASEAN Economic Ministers, invitees and participants gather at the 29th ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat 2023 to discuss several things and issues being set beforehand, such as following up on Cambodia's ASEAN summit last year and also priority issues that Indonesia brings in this year's chairmanship. And joining me now, the Directorate General of International Trade Negotiations of the Ministry of Trade, Jatmiko Bris Wicaksono, who will explain more on the priority issues that Indonesia brings to this event. Hello, Pak Jatmiko. Good evening. Thank you so much for taking your time to share your thoughts and share your views on our focus today. So, in general, what is the biggest economic challenge that Indonesia and all member of ASEAN countries facing now, and how Indonesia, through this year's chairmanship, can help to tackle such challenges?
Okay, thank you, Mas Haryo, and very good afternoon to everyone, including the TVRI audience. Very happy to see you again here from Borobudur, Magelang. According to the question from Mas Haryo, the Indonesian chairmanship in ASEAN this year, 2023, we very understand that over the past at least 3 years, we're facing a pandemic, even though the pandemic is almost done. But there are still a big challenge, not only for Indonesia, but as well as a number of ASEAN countries, including ASEAN as a whole. So in that sense, the government of Indonesia taking the opportunity of this chairmanship by bringing a couple of issues that we believe this is still important and still relevant to be discussed and being delivered as ASEAN deliverable this year in order to help not only Indonesia, but as well as another 10 ASEAN members to speed up recovery of economy, recovery building of the economy. So that's why we are taking the theme of ASEAN this year by having a tagline, ASEAN Matters, Epicentrum of Growth. It means that we believe by helping the economic situation in this ASEAN region can also contribute to the global economic recovery. In that particular themes, ASEAN chairmanship 2023 under Indonesian chairmanship, we focus on 3 aspects. First one is the economic recovery and rebuilding. And number 2 on the digitalization, because we believe digital is something that we are dealing with now, already been a couple of years down the roads. And number 3 about the sustainability, because we believe economic with the sustainability aspect, it will less meaningful. So under those 3 focus of the ASEAN chairmanship, especially on the economic pillars, we define at least 7 priority economic deliverables. Amongst, I think, around 46 of the total that under the other purview, not only under the AEM, but this time in Borobudur, they are going to have an ASEAN Economic Minister, and they are going to discuss about 7. The first one about how ASEAN can further enhance the facilitation work on the services areas, because we believe services is one of the major factors that can contribute and boosting the economy. And number 2 about we have already down the road the implementation of ASEAN Australia-New Zealand FTA. We believe that there is a timely for us to enhance and to improve the agreement, because the agreement is a bit old-fashioned way and now already about a 15 years implementation and a lot of change, a lot of dynamics in the economy. We feel that it should be modernized. And number three, we are talking about how to set up the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Secretariat that already been implemented and into force from 2021. It's already quite, almost 2 years. And we also understand that the existence of the Secretariat will help the implementation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement itself. And Indonesia, we ratified last year, I think in September last year, by law number 24, 2022. And under the economic recovery focus, we also would like to introduce the initiative how ASEAN can work more focused on ASEAN Industrial Initiative project. We have implemented this kind of initiative, I think back 3-4 decades ago, when the earliest of ASEAN economic pillar has been established. And now, because after the geopolitical crisis, after the pandemic crisis, there is a strong need from the ASEAN to introduce more collaborative in industrial aspect. So we will identify what kind of areas that we can work together in ASEAN, and we would like to invite not only the government itself, but as well as the private sector, including the state-owned companies, chambers of commerce, trying to identify probably on energy areas, on food areas, on health areas. So those three areas become more important, moreover after the pandemic. Another two on digital economy. Our priority will focus on how we can implement full electronic Form D as an instrument that can be used or utilized by the exporter, by the company in ASEAN to enjoy and benefiting the preferential that been given by the ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement. So this is something that will be magnify and signify the free trade in the ASEAN areas. And another two about the digital economic framework. We know that digital economy is part of our daily life. Yeah, not only the e-commerce. ASEAN have been dealing with the e-commerce agreement back 1-2 years ago. We also have a number of initiatives, but now the digital technology already, in every aspect of our lives. So that's why we also focus on digital economy. Last but not least, on the sustainability, ASEAN member state also responsibility to support the SDGs that have been initiated by the UN. Yeah, there are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. In that context, ASEAN really would like to contribute a lot and more on how ASEAN can work together with rest of the world on supporting the sustainability. So I think that's the main focus for our chairmanship this year, Mas Aryo.
All right, Pak Jatbiko, and then one of the priority issues that Indonesia brings is the full implementation of e-Form D through the ASEAN single window. Could you please elaborate a little bit more on that matter?
Yeah, basically, in early stage of the implementation of ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, it means in ASEAN, basically, in the last 20 or 30 years, there are already free flow of goods. There's no tariff among ASEAN, only maybe 1 or 2 items that are very sensitive, and every individual ASEAN have a different sensitivity. In order to implement that fully free flow of goods, there is a certificate. We call it Form D. Form D, the exporter already know about the Form D. This kind of the document that required in order to get the preferential, in order to get the benefits. But in the past, it's very conventional. is you need to fill in, you need to print out. But now, because the digitalization is already, something is daily life, we would like to introduce paperless electronically, and we would like in ASEAN this kind of administrative procedure can be fully electronically administratively. So that's why Indonesia, we believe by implementing the electronic Form D that can be utilized by all ASEAN producer or exporter, it can help to to accelerate the economic recovery. It reduces the costs for the businesses. It will easily to be checked, verified, validated by the authority of the 10 ASEAN members. So in general, it will totally shaping, the way that we are doing business in ASEAN, and it creates a lot of value, benefits, not only for the economic operator, but as well as the consumer and producer. Of course, for the government and for the 10 members of ASEAN countries.
All right, then one last question about the expected outcome. What is the expected outcome of the 29th ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat 2023 that can be implemented immediately, as soon as possible after the event ends?
Yeah. Basically, the ASEAN process have a unique procedural and mechanism. For the ministerial meeting, which is normally will be, receive a lot of report from the working group, the senior official process. Minister will only discuss the very strategic and important things. If there is something need to be decided by minister, and the minister will do so. In ASEAN internal process, there are two meetings every year. The retreat, like here in Borobudur, and the other one in August. For the August meeting, it will be held in Semarang. So in retreat, normally this is the interim process. Not necessarily has to be decided in the retreat, but minister will get the report as an interim report, whether it can be decided now, or if there's something need to be, to be refined or to be further discussed, then it will be decided in the next meeting in August. So I think for the retreat tomorrow, minister will get the report first from the senior economic official meeting. It's been discussed today until tomorrow, half day, and then the day after, minister will have the report. First on the 7th priority, whether the 7th priority is already quite comprehend, being prepared by the 10 members. And the other things, of course, there will be an annual priority for 2023, including a number of things that have been raised by the number of working group under the AEM process. So we will see, probably on Wednesday afternoon, whether something already can be decided by the minister, or minister agreed, let's done it in August. So I cannot tell you right now what exactly will happen, because it's still something that needs to be done by next Wednesday.
All right, so it will be further discussed on August, right? Okay, thank you so much, Pak Jatmiko Briswicaksono, Directorate General of International Trade Negotiations of the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia. Thank you so much once again for sharing your thoughts and for taking your time to have a conversation on Focus Today.
Thank you, Pak.
And yeah, the 29th ASEAN Economic Ministers Retreat 2023 kicks off today and will last until Wednesday. And the expected outcome expected to be beneficial for not only Indonesia but also for all ASEAN member countries. And that wraps our report live from Borobudur, Magelang, Central Java. Aryo Bagus and Danudirja as a camera person reporting live for TVRI World. Alin, back to you in the studio.
Yes, thank you, Aryo Bagus, for your report live from Magelang, Central Java.